What's up, metalheads? This is Ritchie from Gravehuffer. You are listening to the Metal Meltdown with Dave Softee on Metal Messiah Radio. Crank it up!
1960s represented the last burst of the human being before he was extinguished. And that this is the beginning of the rest of the future now. And from now on, there'll simply be all these robots walking around, feeling nothing, thinking nothing. Nobody left almost to remind them that there once was a species called a human being with feelings and thoughts, and that history and memory are right now being erased, and soon nobody will really remember that life existed on the planet.
Alrighty, Metal Maniacs, here we go. Please help me welcome to Metal Messiah Radio, hailing from Joplin, Missouri, from Thrash crust metal band Gravehuffer. Joining us, we have guitarist Ritchie Randall, here to tell us all about the band's critically acclaimed Your Fault, soon to be out there on vinyl through Bluntface Records. Welcome to the Metal Meltdown, Ritchie. Thank you for reaching out to me, and thank you for taking the time to be here. How you doing out there?
Doing well, Dave. Thank you so much for agreeing to talk to me today.
Oh, my pleasure. I'm always interested in checking out new bands that I'm not familiar with, and I have checked out your music, and I want to learn all that we can about your band and talk about your upcoming vinyl coming out there. But I want to learn more about your band, so let's do that.
Okay.
Okay. For instance, I've checked out your band, and I noticed the band was formed around 2008, and around 2010, it changed its name from Crom to Gravehuffer. So I'd like to know what led to the band's name change and who selected Gravehuffer as the new band's name.
Like you said, we started out as Crom, and we were getting confused with a bunch of other bands by that same name, whether it was spelled with a C or a K. We were getting confused. There was bands from the Midwest, bands from Italy. There was a rapper. I mean, there was all kinds of it. So
I believe you. It happens a lot.
yeah, it really does. And so we decided to change the name. Actually, it was in 2011, and what had happened was there was a tornado that came through Joplin, Missouri, and it was a really bad F5 multiple vortex tornado, and it took out my house, which is where we practiced, and so we had to kind of relocate the band's rehearsal facilities about an hour away, and our bass player Mike, he suggested we change the name because we were getting confused with the other Croms out there, and he suggested Gravehuffer. And that came from a friend of ours. His name is Dozer, and he plays like this psychobilly, rockabilly type music with the stand-up bass and all that. And he was going to start a band called Gravehuffer. And he decided that, or it didn't work out, or I can't remember exactly what happened, but he ended up not using that for his band, and he basically stopped playing music altogether. And Mike always fancied that name, so we just basically asked our buddy, hey, can we use that to change the name of our band? And he's like, sure, man, as long as you give me free merch for the rest of your career.
There you go.
So that's kind of the running joke is, we're always going to give him free merchandise.
Well, I appreciate for you letting us know about that. I'm sorry to hear about your personal loss there with your home and all that, but that makes
Thank you.
That makes for great writing material though at times.
It really did, and our latest album, Your Fault, has some songs that were influenced by that vibe. Maybe necessarily not about the tornado like specifically, but it definitely influenced the intensity and the aggression and things like that.
Yeah, that's excellent. And you started mentioning your bass player, Mike. Could you let us know who makes up the rest of your band's lineup for all the listeners out there to learn more about your band as well?
Yeah, Mike Gilgy. He's our bass player, and he's like the other half of the music writing team, I guess you could call it. Our singer, James Heiser, and we've all known each other since like the 90s. We're all old friends.
Very nice.
So, me, Mike, and then our drummer, Larry, he's not our current drummer, but we had to let him go. We had been playing, me, Mike, and myself, and Larry had been playing together since like the mid 90s, like in various punk bands and stuff in town. And we even toured a couple of times. And so, yeah, we had a really good chemistry, but, Larry ended up getting a job to where he's on the road all the time. And he unfortunately had to, not give up music, but he just can't play shows anymore. So, we got another guy from this band called Public Assassin who are no longer around. And, we got their drummer. And so we just started rehearsing with him about a month or two ago.
Interesting.
So yeah, it's a kind of we're in a state of flux, kind of, sort of, but it's actually looking really positive so far.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
This kind of stuff happens all the time. You can't prevent it.
Right. Yeah. It just life gets in the way sometimes. So.
Yeah, it's true. Because you need to make a living, and if this job is going to keep him away from doing what he has to do in your band, then you have the right to pursue other avenues. So I'm happy that you are able to continue on, and it looks, from what I noticed on Facebook, you're getting a lot of support. You're out there promoting, and you're getting a lot of shares out there. So people are aware of you, and they are definitely supporting you, and that's really great to see.
Thank you. Yeah, we definitely appreciate it too. And talking to the DJs and from various stations and chat rooms and things like that, and social media. I mean, everything helps, and we love you guys for helping us out.
And that's how the underground is supposed to be. We're all supposed to be
Exactly.
there to help each other, because alone we cannot do anything, really.
Right.
We need each other. So,
Yeah.
So let's talk about your latest release, the critically acclaimed Your Fault, released through Reality Impaired Recordings. And now you have Your Fault, the vinyl, is going to be released on Bluntface Records. I said Bluntface, I meant Bluntface Records.
Yeah, I got you.
I'll be able to fix that. Bluntface
That's
Records.
Cool.
What led you to sign with them, and what led you to decide to go with the vinyl with Bluntface as opposed to, let's say, Reality Impaired?
Reality Impaired is a local label here, and they're very do-it-yourself, grassroots, kind of. They don't even do internet stuff too much. They still do like underground, like zines and tape trading, kind of like. They remind you of something you'd hear about in the '80s,
I hear you. Yeah, I got that.
I don't know if you were ever into the tape trading scene back then. Trading mixtapes and stuff like that through the mail.
Back in the day, sure, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they still kind of they have that vibe to them.
Interesting.
And so, yeah, so they got this kind of cool cult following in everywhere but America. Like Germany and Mexico and South America, and they're surprising how well known they are. But as far as where we're at, they wanted to do the vinyl, but it was just basically they didn't have the means to help us. So we kind of had to do it as a dual label release. So we picked Bluntface, and they were just changing hands. Otto Kinzel used to be the owner, and now it's Haniel Adhair. And he's in a band called Markerdon. I don't know if you've heard of them or not, but they're like this.
I don't believe so. Yeah.
They're like this brutal death metal with brass instruments like trombone and tuba, and it's pretty wild.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think you might like them actually. But
I'll have to check them out. Thank you for
the
info.
Yeah. And then there's also a band called Tiwanaku on there that I really dig. And have you ever heard of Nocturnus?
Oh yeah, I've heard of that band.
Florida death metal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the bass player from Nocturnus is in that band, and I'm trying to think. The drummer from Fear Factory plays drums on the record.
Oh, that's
Mike Heller.
Yeah. He's also in a band called Secret She Kept. That's Metal Messiah Radio's Metal Messiah Records. We have a record label.
Okay.
Not a big one, but that was the first record released by Metal Messiah Records, and that goes back to the history there, and and I believe that Nocturnus is now known as Nocturnus AD.
Nocturnus AD.
Yeah, and
yes.
We have members coming into the chat, especially for Jet's show on a regular basis.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Damien Heftel. Very cool.
Yeah, I've heard of those names. Yeah,
very cool.
It's so cool. It's all. I love it because it's like this networking underground, and everybody like some way or another knows everybody, And so
it is a small world, right?
It is, yeah. And like Bluntface is trying to get that going. We're trying to get some of those old school death metal guys and black metal or whoever, and industrial. They're kind of trying to branch out and do a lot of different things.
I see.
But
what led you to join up with them for the vinyl release?
When they changed hands from Otto to Haniel, they made a big announcement, and they had mentioned doing these special projects, and vinyl was one of them. And so, we were just thinking about doing vinyl for the Your Fault album, and so being the kind of guy I am, I just said, hey, I put my hand up, and I said, hey, we're wanting to do something. And so me and Haniel had a good conversation, and I mean, it was basically, it happened pretty quick, and they agreed to sign us up. And, we started, brainstorming and putting ideas together for the pre-sale that we're doing right now for it. And one of the really cool things that Bluntface came up with was, why don't you guys record a couple of bonus tracks that are exclusive to the vinyl?
Very nice.
And and we've got one out now called Your Fault, which is kind of funny. It's like a title track and it's a bonus track. but it just kind of worked out that way. And that features a guitar solo from Carlo Regatas, who used to be in Carcass.
Nice. Wow.
Yeah, and
You know everybody, huh?
yeah, yeah, man. I'm trying to, trying to get that name out there.
I hear you.
So
I see that. Yes.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. And then we're recording another bonus track, like within the next couple of weeks, which will introduce our new drummer. So it's kind of this cool thing going on with this vinyl. Like it's got this exclusive special vibe to me. So we're real excited about it.
I have a link I want to give out to the people because this is a pre-order, but I want to give out the link. It's I hope I say this right. Trinachia or
Yes,
Trinakia.com / Gravehuffer 2018.
correct. Yes, I think the Gravehuffer is the G's capitalized.
Yes.
I think it has to be, but you can also go to our Facebook page, our Bandcamp, YouTube, any of our social media websites, Twitter, and there's a pinned post on each of our sites that has the link as well. So
Good news. And when do you foresee the actual release? I mean, the availability the pre-orders are going on now, but when
uh-huh.
do you think that the vinyl will actually be out there and shipped to the fans?
September.
That's not too far away, really.
Yeah. I mean,
Actually, we're in what? We're in February, so yeah,
mhm.
March or so. So yeah, but
Right.
time flies when you're having fun. So it'll be here
It
before you know
does.
it.
Yeah. We're going to do the pre-order till April 10th, I believe. And then when we get the funds released, then we're going to start doing the layout and get it sent to the vinyl producer. And usually it takes 3 months, 4 months to produce vinyl.
Right.
So
We'll keep spreading the word. That's for sure.
thank you. I've noticed that too. You here recently, you've spread the word quite a bit, so we really appreciate that.
Just as soon as you contacted me, I mean, this is what it's been. It's just like the interview. Everything's happening as it should, at a perfect pace. You edited me, I edited you, or whoever edited each other, and you
Yeah.
mentioned, hey, I'd like to get an interview, and here we are doing the interview right away,
Right.
and we're talking about this and spreading the word. That's how it is in the underground. We have to do this.
Yes, I agree, man,
It's,
and I think it works fantastic.
it has to be this way. But one thing I would like to know is how would you describe the sound of your band? I mean, I'm not too familiar with Crust of any, what Crust is actually, but
Yeah.
they describe you on Metal Archives as being a thrash, crust, grindcore band. But when I hear the music, I hear thrash and punk influences. I don't really know what Crust is, though. To be honest with you.
Crust is from punk.
Okay.
It's kind of like a British term for it. They call it anarcho punk. Kind of like, have you ever heard of Discharge?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, or Amoebics. Gosh, I can't think of any other bands, but
I have
a
not
lot
heard
of
of
like
it. No.
a lot of the bands from like late '70s and early '80s, like Sweden, they were like this thrashy metal, but they had like more of a punk rock kind of like anarchist political lyrics, and a lot of the drum beats kind of had they call it D beat, and it had like this certain kind of sound to it. And we have elements of that, and a lot of that comes from our bass player. It's stuff that he's really heavily into, and the thrash kind of comes from everybody. I mean, we're kind of all over the place.
Well, it makes you original that way.
Yeah.
We have a lot of
Totally.
people at Metal Messiah Radio from the very beginning. I'm talking about the people that are part of Metal Messiah Radio, the staff. They've always been into, well, not just, they're into the more extreme metal, let's say, but as far as
Yeah.
thrash and punk, they love that combination. And
Right.
it's almost like one family, thrash and punk. Me,
It really is.
yeah, I love thrash. I love all kinds of metal, actually, but
Uh-huh.
thrash is my favorite, of course, I have to tell you
Yeah.
that.
Cool.
Yeah, and I want to know how your music all comes together. How does it all come to be? Who writes the music? Who writes the lyrics? Do you do all this yourself, or is it a group venture?
It's all of the above. We kind of just get together, and me, Mike, and our new drummer Matt, and our old drummer Larry at the time. I mean, we just all the three instrumentalists will get together and we'll just start writing stuff. And a lot of the times we'll rehearse for our live set, and then we'll set aside an hour or two for just writing. And that's just kind of what we do every time we get together, once every week or every other week. And sometimes one of us will come up with something at home and record it on our phone or record it on whatever. And we'll just put down ideas, and nothing's off limits, really. We'll put it out there. Either everybody likes it or everybody doesn't like it. We all have to agree on it, of course.
Well,
And
democracy is always the best way.
Right, yeah. I mean, I'd hate to put music out and it's like, man, I always hated this song. I mean, there's bands out there like that, and I'm like,
sure,
I would hate that. But
yeah, it's funny when they hate it, but then the fans they love it, and you never would expect that. It happens sometimes.
It does, yeah. It's like, oh, I get sick of playing this song for the 10 millionth time. But then there's bands out there, it's like, maybe they hate rehearsing that song, but then when they get in front of an audience, it's like, okay, I love, this is the best thing ever, like Judas Priest playing Breaking the Law for the 10 millionth time,
Oh, yeah, exactly.
I'm sure they probably hate rehearsing it, but can you imagine playing that song in front of 80,000 people at Wacken in Germany? I mean,
yeah, the blood's got to be flowing with the vibe of that, and you really get into that for sure. You get that natural high from performing for sure.
Exactly, and especially something iconic like that. So, but yeah, anyway, our singer James, he writes all the lyrics. Sometimes me or Mike or the Matt or Larry, the drummers, we'll suggest a subject or an idea, but we let James have free reign, So the subjects vary extremely, Some of them can be a little humorous, some of them can be very serious, some of them can be personal in nature. We're pretty all over the place. So
that's cool though, and I'd like to spend some time talking about Your Fault. I'd like to know who produced this, where it was recorded, what studio, and who was responsible for mixing, mastering, and all this. If you could give us information on that, that would be great.
Yeah. Your Fault was pretty much, we self-produced, mixed everything. Our drummer at the time, he had a studio set up in his home, and he had a spare bedroom, and we put baffles on the walls for the sound and carpets down and all that stuff, and he had nice wood floors for guitar sounds, and so everything sounded really good. I think we tracked guitars in this living room, if I remember. He has this old house and just old hardwood floors, and I've always read that wood floors are really good for guitars because the mics pick up that kind of vibration and that resonance in the wood.
Right.
And so we decided to go with that, and it kind of gave it a nice chunky but tight sound. And so, yeah, we did it all ourselves. We bought all the equipment to build the studio. And, it took a lot of shows, playing a lot of shows to get all that money saved up. But, it was worth it for us. We know exactly what we want. And so we thought, we might as well just do this. A buddy that mastered it for us, he's in St. Louis, and he's got a studio where he works at. And so we did have the mastering done, professionally. So
that's great. Great news. And I tell you, I totally respect and love bands that are do-it-yourself bands. And you definitely are a do-it-yourself band. And that you had the opportunity to get with your local label to get this music out there. It's a great thing. But you're doing everything that you need to do. And from what I'm seeing, you're working hard at promoting the band. And this is a good thing as well. And
thank you.
Another thing I'd like to know about, if you could tell us who did your cover art for the band, who designed it, and who designed your band's logo. I've seen a few different logos out there, so I'm interested to know if this is also a do-it-yourself situation, or if you have maybe a friend or whoever did it. We'd like to know who did it.
Well, for the Your Fault album, we have a friend. His name is Eric Sweet, and he's an artist. He lives in San Antonio, Texas. And we've known him for a very long time. His entire house is just full of paintings. Like the Your Fault album is an actual big, huge painting, and we just had it professionally photographed for the album cover. And what we did was we gave him the lyrics and the music and a demo form, and he listened to it, and that's what came out when he painted it. His reaction to listening to the music and reading the lyrics. And so we were very, very happy with what he came up with. And the kind of border around it, that was influenced by a band called Oh shoot, Septic Death, I think. You
Okay.
know, Pusshead that did the art for Metallica and stuff.
Okay. No, I'm not really familiar with that name, but
Yeah, he did.
I call some people that, but I didn't know there was an actual
Yeah,
person.
yeah. It was his. That's his band from like the '80s. It's like this really old school like thrash punk, kind of like what we do. And their first album had that. It was like the artwork, and then behind it was a negative of the artwork, kind of blown up, and that's kind of where we borrowed that idea from. And so
Wow.
it turned out really cool.
It's interesting. And they say you should never judge a book by its cover, so to speak.
Yeah,
But when I'm listening to your music and I watch cover art, your logo, I have to say it's a perfect fit for the sound. It matches
yeah.
a perfect fit for it. So that was a win-win for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We thought it. Like I say, and the artist, that's exactly what he painted is what the feelings it invoked for him when he listened to the music. So
Good call on his part there.
yeah, definitely.
And Richie, one of the most important things about doing these interviews, being that we're in the underground, is
Uh-huh.
how to support the bands. And being Gravehuffer, we want to know where would be the best place for fans to get merchandise, the actual physical copy of the CD. We have your Bandcamp as well, but
Yes.
we want to tell the listeners out there how they can support the band the best way that we can. And I noticed you have a shop tab on your Facebook, so I would give your facebook.com/Gravehunter, and you have
Yeah.
the Bandcamp as well, Gravehuffer. I do that a lot, you know.
Hey, it's cool, man. You
Yeah,
probably do tons of interviews, man. I
yeah,
hear you.
yeah, Grave Hunter. I mean, that would be a good name too.
That would be cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, Grave Huffer. Yeah, the Bandcamp is gravehuffer dot bandcamp.com, and it's a
Yes.
make your own price type of situation there. So
Uh-huh.
you're not asking for too much. But where would you say would be the best place? I would guess it would be your Facebook again. And I would like to know what other merch you have available for the fans
Mhm.
beyond the music.
Well, the band camp is where we tend to steer everybody as far as like merchandise. The shop button on the Facebook takes you to the vinyl pre-sale at the moment.
Right.
The reach.thranacia.com/Gravehuffer 2018. And the Bandcamp, we've got like cassettes, we've got CDs, the digital download, of course. We're getting ready to get a new shipment of shirts with a brand new design.
Very nice.
We'll be getting those within the next week or two, and it will have glow in the dark ink on it, so it's pretty cool. And we've got patches, stickers, guitar picks. I'm trying to think what else. We used to have some hoodies. We're out of those right now. But yeah,
those are perfect for this time of the year, actually, right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah. We sold out of those. We sold the last one about a month ago.
I see.
So we're gonna have a new design on the hoodies too. So
Very
that's
nice.
that's kind of what we were waiting for on that. So
Very nice.
thank you.
Okay, that's cool. And I noticed your video for Kill for Sport, the animated video.
Yeah.
It's very unique, very interesting. I
Yes.
found it very entertaining, and it looks like
Uh-huh.
it was probably whoever created it was probably a tedious task. But I'd like to know what can we learn about this particular video as far as its production and who created this.
Well, our bass player Mike is quite the artist. I
Wow,
forgot to mention he did the star logo that we have. That's his design, and
nice.
yeah,
It
and
has,
he
it
does.
has a black metal type of feel to it, really.
It kind of does, yeah. It's supposed to be kind of like a pentagram with a coffin inside, so we call it a pentagrave. And that's kind of like
Ah,
it's kind of like a play on the pentagram and the tomb and the coffin.
very nice.
So yeah, we're just kind of goofy, old school, having fun, but at the same time it still looks cool. But
It does, yeah.
yeah, the video, Mike, our bass player, he actually he drew all and illustrated all of that video, and then a good friend of ours named Brad Kester, him and Mike have this collective called Skunkworks Audio Unit, and they put together all of our videos, or at least 3 of them. And they have an animation program where they scanned all that stuff in and animated it, and Brad directed the video, and he's got a pretty warped sense of humor, so it, like you said, it is pretty entertaining. And so yeah, we're pretty happy with that one. and we're pretty happy that we were able to create that ourselves.
This is amazing. Really is.
Thank you.
And do you have plans to make future either music or lyrical videos, or will you be concentrating on new music and then have new videos for that? What is the game plan as far as videos in the future for you?
Well, we've talked about doing a video for one of the bonus tracks for the vinyl just to kind of coincide with the vinyl release. And we're not sure whether we want to do the song Your Fault or the other song. It's actually called No Boundaries, No Borders. So we're not sure which song we're going to do, but that's the plan, is to make another video for one of the vinyl bonus tracks.
That's great news. Really it is.
Thank you. Thanks.
And have you been performing lately in support of Your Fault, or have you been staying away from that? Do you have anything coming up that we could spread the word on, or is there any past shows that really stand out in your mind that you'd like to discuss?
Yeah, actually, in particular, the latter question about the past shows. Yeah, there's a really funny one I'd like to tell you about, but before I get to that, we do not have anything going or booked at the moment. As I alluded to earlier, we're going through a drummer switch, and so we're wanting to get him down, get him rehearsed and ready to play a 10-song set before we start playing shows. He's got about 3 or 4 songs down, and so we're slowly but surely working him in, while at the same time learning this new song for the vinyl and getting it recorded. So, I mean, we're pretty busy recording and rehearsing and, writing new music. We've got 4 or 5 songs already for the next album. So we got a lot going on in the pipeline. But
this is great. All great news,
yeah. Yeah, a lot of stuff going on. But yeah, you mentioned about past shows. This was a pretty cool show. It was funny. Our current drummer Matt, we opened for his band Public Assassin when he was in that band at the time at a place called Blackthorn Pizza and Pub here in Joplin, Missouri. And we show up and we walk in, and the crowd's got a bunch of foam swords and shields and helmets and all, and I was like, what's going on? And so we start playing, and it was like this full-on Braveheart like battle scene while we were playing, and then people were sword fighting and moshing while they were sword fighting, and that was the craziest thing I've ever seen. I mean, and I got in there when the other bands were playing, and I got a nice, bloody nose, and it was great.
Did you get to catch any of that on video or on somebody's phone catching that? That would be awesome.
Yeah, I know. I really, we've asked around, and I think everybody was in the pit doing their thing. I don't think anybody was filming it, and I just really wish that would have happened. But
me too.
I mean, that would have been incredible. We really didn't know it was going to happen. So one of the guys in one of the other bands just brought a whole bunch of his LARP weapons, and so
sounds like fun.
It was a blast. It was incredible.
You made it sound like it. I want to visualize it now. I
know,
visualize it in my head, but I want to see it on YouTube.
Exactly.
Ritchie, would you like to talk about your guitars?
Yeah. I've actually gotten some endorsements.
I noticed that too. That's really outstanding. Good
thank you.
Yeah.
My first endorsement was a company called Von York Strings. They're based out of New Jersey, I believe. And then I got picks, Sinister guitar picks. And then it was Killer Bee guitars, and then Spectraflex cables. And then we've also got Dirtbag clothing. Killer Bee guitars made me a Flying V, and I just got this guitar last week.
Wow.
And
congratulations.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
Thank you. It's fantastic. They made it exactly how I wanted it, to my exact specifications. And I was actually up late last night playing it, and it plays like no other guitar I've ever owned. So, and the Flying V is definitely a very iconic shape, and this is it's got a cool some little differences, than a regular V, and it's got its own kind of thing going on as far as the little details, and it's like a flat black color, and it just really looks metal. I mean, it just looks so metal. So you can see that guitar on my Facebook page. It's on the band page as well, the Facebook page as well. So I appreciate you asking about that.
Oh, of course. We have to share the pictures in the chat room when we're doing this, you know?
Yeah, that'd be
That
great.
would make it interesting. Yeah. I'm very curious, though, because a lot of bands I get with, they never even get endorsements. Some do, but what was the
Mhm.
process like for you to actually get these endorsements? I mean, that's great, and it's really outstanding that you have these endorsements. But was it a difficult process for you, or was it rather easy for you to get these endorsements? How did it all come to be?
Well, it was kind of like I was telling you earlier about getting signed on with Bluntface. I just basically put my butt on the line and just asked them flat out, "Hey,"
There you go.
and it just never hurts to ask. And
Exactly.
all the worst somebody can tell you is no, and then you move on. And that's kind of always been my attitude. And I mean, of course, I wouldn't get an endorsement if I wasn't a musician, but so I put in all the time to play music and get a band together and write songs and be creative and everything that goes with being in a band and playing shows and all that stuff. But that being said, you still gotta talk to people, and so that was basically how it happened. A friend of mine in another band called Four Skulls, his name is Mick Bryan. He had a Killer Bee guitar endorsement, and I saw his guitars, and he's got a black one and a white one. He named the black one Bytor and the white one Snow Dog, like the Rush song.
Right. Interesting.
And so, yeah, I was like, man, that's so cool. And I'm showing my age, I guess, but so we were talking about it, and he goes, man, I got this endorsement, and he goes, these guitars are just fantastic. And I loved the way they looked. And I was like, I wonder if they'd make me a V. I was like, I want a freaking V. And so I just asked the guy, and he said yes. And he said, we don't turn people down. He goes, you'll it's not free. It's not free stuff yet. You got to kind of earn that. So
right.
And that's the way it's been. With all the companies. So you help them sell product, and then you'll start seeing the reaping the rewards and the benefits from that.
That's totally understandable, and congratulations on that. And the lesson learned here is nothing's going to happen if you sit on your ass, but if you put yourself out there, there's endless possibilities, and you've proven that.
Thank you.
I thank you.
I appreciate it, man.
And I'm interested to know what you do when you're not doing the band. What is your regular job?
Oh, yeah. I actually work for a university here in town. It's called Missouri Southern State University. And I run the mailroom there, and it's a pretty cushy office job. So, I mean, the thing that's kind of nice about it is it'll help pay for my kids' education and my wife's education. And she's in nursing school at the moment, and she'll be graduating in a year, and she'll be making way more money than I will. And so
that's excellent.
Yeah, I mean, it's all good.
She could help in the future to pay for the future band offerings and stuff like that.
Yeah. yeah. Buy us a nice house and get us a studio in the basement and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, that's what I do. I got 4 kids, 4 boys.
Wow.
Yeah. One's 14, one's 10, and I got twins, and they're 6. And so my house is pretty insane, but in a good way. I mean, we all have fun, and we love doing what we do, and my kids all love music. As a matter of fact, me and my oldest son are going to go see Judas Priest in April. And so it's, we do that kind of thing. We just have fun.
It should be an interesting show without Glenn Tipton.
Without Glenn? Yeah, I saw he had Parkinson's.
Yeah.
We got to meet Priest in 2008 when my oldest was 5. And Glenn was the nicest. Well, they were all super nice, Rob and Glenn in particular. Glenn gave my son Zach a guitar pick from the stage. And, I mean, it was incredible. So, I mean, they're probably my favorite band of all time. So
I hear you.
So I'm excited.
They have the tune that I have, the Metal Meltdown. And here comes the Metal Meltdown. Run for your life.
Oh, right? Metal Meltdown. Yes. Yes. Yes.
But
yes.
But yeah, I mean, it's great you're going to see them again because you don't know how much longer they're going to be out there. Like
right.
even Slayer says they're doing farewell and all that, but Judas Priest is a little bit older. I think they got 10 years at least on these bands.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what, 74 or whatever. So.
Exactly. So it's only a matter of time. So kudos to you. Enjoy the show there.
Oh yeah, it's them and Saxon and Black Star Riders. It ought to be a great show.
Oh, that's former Thin Lizzy, right?
Yes,
I
yes.
love Thin Lizzy, man. I gotta
Oh
tell
man,
you.
dude, me too.
I actually wish they never changed the name, but
I know.
I guess they're honoring Phil Lynott
Yeah.
by calling him he's the Black Star and they're the Black Star Riders because they're riding on his back.
About yeah.
I guess that's how it
That's
came to be.
pretty. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's
Oh
pretty
yeah.
cool.
Oh yeah. I mean,
I agree.
they compare the vocalist, his name I can't recall, to a similar sound of Phil, but there's no one like Phil, and
Oh no, no, no,
he was a
no.
tragic loss and all that. But
Yes.
that music, I mean, I hate the tune. What's that tune called again? Oh yeah, the boys are back in town. But their
Was it back in
discography,
town?
yeah, the discography they have though, so many killer tunes, so many
Oh
fun.
yeah.
They have their certain sound. Yeah, I'm a big fan still to this day of them
Me too. Me too.
and all their little changes throughout the years and all that. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so Black Star Riders you'll be seeing them. That's also cool. Very cool.
Yeah, I actually got to see when they were still Thin Lizzy. They opened for Priest. It was them and Black Label Society and Judas Priest, and they were good, man.
Yeah.
They were solid.
Fun show. Yeah,
Yeah,
I guarantee. I'm sure.
yeah.
And Richie, is there anything that you'd like to say to your fans around the world that are tuning in at this time?
Yeah, I mean, we love Metal Messiah Radio, and we appreciate your support. I listen to several of the shows on this station. DJ Ghost and Maria over in Germany, they've been huge supporters of us, and so I mean, we love you guys, and I just can't thank everybody enough for supporting us, and the vinyl pre-sale's been going great, and I mean, I just can't say enough good things about all the support we've been getting on, from the internet and otherwise. It's been fantastic. So thank you all so much.
Very cool. Yeah, Ghost and Bloody Mary.
Yes.
They're very brutal DJs. They play brutal
Oh
tunes.
man, they do.
I love them dearly, and they're both. Maria's originally from Greece, but they're both in Germany, and I believe
Uh-huh.
they have gone to shows together or they've met up. I see pictures of them
Yeah.
all the time, so that's really
Yeah.
cool that you already know them and all that, and you are a fan of Metal Messiah Radio. I appreciate you saying that. That's awesome.
No problem.
And I want to thank you for joining us tonight on the Metal Meltdown on Metal Messiah Radio. I've enjoyed the opportunity to learn more about you and the band. And I got to tell you, you do a great interview. And just know that anytime you need an interview, just reach out to me and we'll make it happen.
Thank you. Thanks, Dave. I really appreciate that. It's been an honor, man. It's been a fun conversation. It's been pro. I mean, I can't say enough about it.
I appreciate that. And before we go, I just want to make sure, is there anything else that you want to bring out to the fans out there that we have yet to discuss? Because the platform is yours if you'd like to do that.
Well, I think we've pretty much talked about everything, but we got a lot of exciting things in the pipeline, man. That's about all that I can think of to put out there. We're writing new music. We got a new drummer. It's going to change the sound a little bit, but he plays more double bass stuff, which we're excited to incorporate that. And we're probably more excited now than we've ever been in this band. So, good things are coming.
Outstanding. I will definitely be keeping my eyes on Gravehuffer, and I recommend everybody out there keep your eyes on Gravehuffer because it sounds like great things are going to be happening. And I want to wish everyone at Gravehuffer a great 2018 and in all the future years. And like I said, I'm sure we'll be having plenty of interviews over the years. So definitely keep in touch, and
Okay.
Let's go crank up some more Gravehuffer at this time.
All right, man. Cheers, man.
Crank it up loud.
Yes.